Welcome to the Barbell Strikes Back. I'm James McDermott, joined by Miguel Porter. Miguel, how you doing?
Pretty good. Got another week down going.
Another week of training, another week of life.
Yeah.
The training is life. Is training life?
You can certainly make it so.
Yeah, it dominates kind of a large portion of ours. You're training for a triathlon. You're also still doing weightlifting. I don't even know if you're doing ballroom dancing or other stuff still, or if that kind of like has to go on the back burner. Is that the case?
Everything has been adjusted. Yeah, so that's like, in the past 2 weeks, I think I've gone to a dance lesson once. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So yeah, it's still there, still has presence,
Yeah.
So it's just funny how training or training related things kind of take over your life a little bit. And or they hold a high position of importance, which is going to make it feel like it's like life all the time. Even for me, I'm not doing any kind of training like you are, but I still have things that have to get done that I've committed to. So yesterday I'm at, Frank's Meet, Central New York Weightlifting Regional Open. And so were other members of our team, but that's a 6 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. day because I got to drive all the way back from Ithaca and other stuff and work the event. And when I got home, still got to do my core training, and I still need 7,000 steps, and I only had 3,000 when I walked in through the door. It's got to get done. Doesn't matter that it's 10:30 at night, and I'm super tired and I want to shower and stuff. So it's just it just holds such a high position of importance, and I think it's worth it because all right, like if I could just not have done those things last night, I could have just sat down, watched TV, gone to bed. You could easily not do some days, where the training is inconvenient in your days, and I'm sure you still do it. But we reap the rewards later on, right? It's hard in the moment. It really sucks sometimes, but that it's gonna be worth it. Not today, but 3 months, 6 months, maybe even years later.
Yeah.
You ever notice that for yourself, where you're like, man, I'm so glad I still did this.
Yeah, and I think everybody's got something, I guess, where, something's going to be your whole life. And if it wasn't training, then maybe it's work. And I don't know if I would necessarily like it to be work, at least with the job that I do. It's not really like my thing. So, but a lot of people who don't train or have like main hobbies, like really their life is just work and then home. But if you're not filling that time with like something meaningful, then really the only thing you've got going is the one thing you do every day, which is work. So yeah, I guess right now just putting it in something else, which is training and whatever other hobbies you can get in. But like, yeah, that's the main one right now.
Yeah. It should be something that's going to be like fruitful for your life. All right, gardening, all right, you got to go to work all day and it's not your thing and whatnot. But you know what? When you punch out and you go home, putting your hands in the soil just keeps you sane and you enjoy doing it. And it's a meaningful part of your life. And it gets you outside because maybe you've been inside for work all day. And like for me, like, all right, being a coach, it kind of does make your job, the whole kind of blends together. But I do have other things that balance that out. But you definitely, if you're not like in like your work isn't training related, you have to find something. Maybe you go home and all right, you like to cook, so you just go through a recipe book and you really enjoy it and getting all the ingredients and just stimulating your mind and learning skills that way. It's super important, and I think there's a lot of people that don't do that, and I don't know how they don't have something like that they don't do. But anyways, Central New York Weightlifting Regional Open went well. It was awesome event. It was cool to get out to Ithaca and see Ithaca weightlifting and the gym and the space that they train in. It's funny because I see their training videos all the time on the New York Weightlifting Instagram account, and it looks so different in person. It's like, all right, you only ever see this one camera angle and the platform, and then walking into the room, I'm like, this place is huge. Like the training room that they have is actually really big, nicely laid out, and everything. It was really cool, and they have two separate ends. So if you walk into the main entranceway of the building, there's like a mini lobby and like a bathroom. But if you go right, you go through a doorway that's a big open warehouse space for the CrossFit, or left. If you go left, if you go right, it's a whole nother wing for the weightlifting, and it's not as big as the CrossFit space, but it's still pretty big. But they almost could be two separate. They probably were years ago two separate businesses, and that was just like the hallway entranceway of the main plaza thing. So it was a really cool setup that they had, and how they could really keep things separated, where whatever's going on in each space wouldn't interfere with what's happening. Versus us, like, we kind of have that too, but let's say if the music's too loud in the CrossFit space, we'll hear it, and they kind of don't have that. It was nice. Very nice gym. Definitely, of course, highly recommend it. CrossFit Palace and Ithaca Weightlifting under one roof. So the facility was awesome, and we held everything in the CrossFit space for the meet. And the tough part about the CrossFit space is there's no air conditioning over there. The weightlifters, they get the air conditioning, as they should.
Got it.
But you would love the CrossFit space, because when we were setting up on Friday, oh my God, it was just setting up the computers and the wires and everything. I was pouring sweat because, of course, it was hot and humid. But I can't imagine them doing watts in there all the time without any air conditioning. But they do. And we had, on our end, we had Alex just competing. He was the only one going solo. And we had Shaf out there and Haley volunteering all day. So that was cool to have them be a part of the event. Haley, of course, killed it on the chief marshaling, making sure all the papers are signed and taken in the changes. Shaf loaded 3 sessions and repped 1 session. And so it was great to see them and have them, hang out with them all day. And then, of course, Alex killed it on the meet.
Nice. What was it, like, numbers that you were expecting to hit?
Yeah. The plan went pretty much as we expected for the snatch. Clean and jerk was a little different. So on the snatch, we put down 95 because we're trying to make sure everyone feels good. We haven't done full on snatch and paired it with a meet in a while during our little off season here from our meet. And so we put down 95, but Alex was able to bump it up to 100. He made 100 very easily, made 104 very easily, which is up from the regional, which is good. And we went for 109, which would have been a PR. And he was looking good for it. It's just I think he was starting, even though he felt good, starting to feel gassed was like insidiously there underneath. And I do think with certain numbers, there's still a mental block there. And so other than that, the snatches went very well. Luckily, it wasn't hot and humid because if it was like it was on Friday, boy, everyone would have been suffering. But it wasn't. So I think it was more of a temperature of what Alex would be used to in our gym. So nothing outside of that. But for the clean jerk, we were going to open up at 135. And during the warm-ups, he was saying that he was getting pretty gassed. And that was with us really taking our time to warm up, not doing anything crazy. So I suggested we bump it down first to 128. And then right before he was getting ready to go, maybe a couple lifts out, I asked him again, and he wasn't really too confident. So I was like, after he took his 120, so I was like, let's go 125. Like let's just really just get a total, and then we can do whatever. So we did 125. He missed it. He got the clean, and then just he said he started to go dizzy on the jerk, which is interesting because that doesn't really happen too much for Alex in training. But it happened that day. I think it's just, again, he's getting gassed and having a hard time, recovering after the clean, I think was probably where he's feeling the gas. I'd have to ask him to know for sure. So he missed the first jerk, which is also the debut of the push jerk for him. So he's still figuring out the push jerk. And then we went up to 120. We 2 stabs at 125, and then we finished at 130. So he's like, no, let's go 130, and he made it. So I think it's just a combination of nerves that is still figuring out because he's still so new to competition, and getting gassed and just experience in the moment type of things. Otherwise he did great. Yeah, he took first place, so another regional title under Alex's belt. So that's good. More medals, and but most importantly, more time on the competition platform. He just needs more and more of it. The more meets we can put him in, the better.
Yep. Yeah. So what do you think? I guess, would you feel that the off-season training that we're doing has, like, I guess in terms of him getting gassed, do you think it's because of weightlifting specific movements, or is it like, do you think like more of like the Metcon-y work that we do, do you think that could assist with that? Or do you think maybe that's what's causing the difference of like the fatigue of warm-ups?
Yeah. I think from what I saw on his snatch lockouts have been looking very well. I think that was a pro from the off season on just his upper back and everything looking more stable, and the turnover from all the muscle snatch stuff we've been doing kind of transferring over. So I think that was good. I think with the gas stuff, it's not like he hasn't been doing the conditioning work that we've been doing, and it's been sub-maximal, although it's probably felt maximal at times for you guys. But I think there's just nothing that really compares to a heavy clean and jerk. Like, it just goes from 0 to 100 so fast, versus even in the conditioning work we're doing, it's a slow, insidious build. It's not something that's going to go from like, all right, I feel, fine, to all of a sudden I can't breathe and it feels heavy and stuff like that. And I also do think the combination of that and a new style of jerk played into it. Like one of his first warm-ups, he split jerk. And I was like, what happened there? And he's like, I don't even know. It's just competition memory coming back. So it's still, so new that in the moment, the split jerk came back. So that's just my speculation. I'd have to ask him to know for sure. I do think that, he's a big boy. He's a big boy, and I think it's that kind of stuff's going to happen to him, regardless of what we do. But with he did like the way we ran the warm up for the snatch. So he was right behind me, where the computers were, and I told him like put 40 or 50 on the bar. You're going at the end. So again, he's at the dead last end of it. Like he's doing most of his lifts when no one else is doing them. And I was like, all right, you're going to have to wait like 27 attempts. So, but we could keep moving if you want. So maybe every 3 lifts or so, hit like a high pull, a muscle snatch, a snatch balance, just kind of keep moving. So he was doing that. And he said he really enjoyed that. Like just moving for the entire session and not like cutting that out and then going through the rest of his warm-ups when it was quote time. So the snatch went really, really, really well. Whether that played a hand into sapping a lot of energy too for the clean jerk, I don't know. Again, I'd have to ask him. But we did do a similar approach for the clean and jerk, which if you think about it, let's say if we were going to max out or something, this is not how Alex would operate in training. You know, he's kind of going to maybe do just singles most of the time,
Yeah.
just the lifts that we have on the card. But for this, he took 70 a bunch of times on the build up as well, which, it seemed like the right decision because it worked so well on the snatch and he really enjoyed it. So like, all right,
Yep.
yeah, let's do that. Let's be doing something during it. So that might have played a hand in it too. I don't know how many times he took 70 and did like a couple jerks or, just one clean and jerk before we started to ramp up the rest of the warm-ups. But it wasn't until like 110, 120 when he really started to maybe feel the day too. Because, I mean,
Yeah.
I can make all the excuses I want as well, or we could like factor in so many things. I think they did leave at like 4:45 or 5:45, so
Yeah.
it was a long day. And the men's sessions were first, but we were behind by like an hour, Miguel, after the first session. It just so the meet was running behind, so the day was just long, So I bet all of it factors in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Heat, the way we were running the warm up, nerves, the days behind. It's already been a long day. It's not like Alex could have just got up, 2 or 3 hours before. Like he had to get up so much earlier.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have to do a debrief with him and figure that stuff out. But I think it's all going the right direction for him, and we're going to start to transition now back to our back into like full on lifting and stuff like that soon. So I'm still kind of thinking about what the transition phase from off season to, more full on time weightlifting is going to look like. But I think you guys will start to see more of the combo too of snatch and clean and jerk. And then let me ask you, because on Wednesday, everybody, the whole team, did warm ups and openers with Alex. So he wasn't just doing it by himself, and we can all kind of just test where we're at the moment. What was it like putting snatch and clean jerk together again? Any change? Not a big deal.
I think it was, again, I think like the training age of it all, where at least like I know my body still has it in there, the memory of even like maxing out both of just in a training day, like what that's going to feel like. It definitely was a bit of shock to the system. I think, again, when you get to clean and jerk, where you're like, oh yeah, I've been like very intense for this amount of time doing just specific movements. I think that's part of it too. Like when you're doing a Metcon and we're kind of doing, I guess, low mentally taxing movements, even if you're fast and like heavy, if they're movements that you're like not thinking as technical with, I think that's a different type of stress. But I think that mental stress can also add on to the like physical exhaustion. So I would say it did start to get me at clean and jerk where, I mean, as I do, like I was just going for them because, you do what you can. But yeah, it definitely got me a little bit though. The switch in intensity level, I think, with it. And I guess the thing with the jerk too is we've done meets for me specifically where, we're really focused on the jerk. And I think that also like can add to that physical exhaustion because you're so focused on like hitting a jerk a specific way and you're like thinking a little bit more where you hit it. You're like maybe holding the bar for like, even if it's like a second or like half a second more than you typically would because you're so focused on a jerk style. That can definitely add to it. But yeah, I would say Wednesday was tough, but yeah, I think with the time that I've had in, you kind of make it work as best as you can. But I could definitely see how that was a shock to everyone's system a little bit.
It's funny. The next session after Alex lifted, he was reffing, and there was one lady who was doing push jerks, and like especially like the heavier it get, you could just see how much effort she's putting into the drive up and then get, dropping under. So at one point I was like, Alex, did you see that? Like, so, and I guess Schaff had just said something to him too,
Yeah.
because Schaff was reffing right next to him. So, but I didn't see that part. So it was like one of those funny moments where like, he's just like, you're all attacking me right now. And like,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
like it happens every now and then in training. And he like does like a little mini, like not a meltdown or anything, just like what is happening? Like, what are you all doing right now? It was funny, but, yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And I know Chris felt that too. Like, Chris was, by the time we got to like around 90 on the clean jerk, he's just like he was pretty much cooked, and it's funny, the combo of them, and like the nerves and stress of the snatch,
Yeah.
because even in training, it's like, that's just a special thing about the snatch. I don't know, maybe for me, it's like it never felt certain all the time. It's like, what is today going to be like? Snatch is like closer to like double unders on like, oh, this is going to be my life now today, on this, versus like clean and jerk. It's like, oh, never any doubt, but was the damage already done from the snatch on just
Right.
like
Yeah.
the anxiety that happens before it, and just the, it's not a given. You have to actually do this, if you want it to go, versus the clean. I mean, we've all done sloppy cleans. I don't know if I ever did sloppy snatches,
Right.
but like a sloppy clean, I'm just like, oh, like I got distracted or something, or my mind went somewhere else, and like, oh, here it is. And then, all right, let me just do this jerk, right now. But it's just funny how they take away in different ways. And boy, that combo is a combo for a reason on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
complete test of weightlifting and what it does to you. And it's funny, you have that experience. And I asked you, or I said, you're probably pretty upset how this went on Wednesday, because you've not been, like, you've been away on most Fridays and you've been training for your triathlon, so like it's affecting your body in different ways. And we haven't been lifting snatch clean jerk combo this cycle. And even in the build up to our regional, I think we had dedicated days most of the time. Like, we weren't doing it like we were doing it last year, where it was just full on weightlifter, snatch clean jerk, snatch clean jerk. And you snatched 91. You had, I think, a better snatch day on Wednesday than you had previously in the year when you were training for a meet. And you still did very, very well on the clean and jerk. But it's just kind of funny and like almost like funnily disappointing for you on like, damn it, it's still, I still got it, like, or like, it makes sense why I got it today.
It's obvious the sport is about the total. And I think that's the interesting part, where, like you're saying with Alex, kind of doing like reps and different things to warm up his snatch, and how that worked well, and kind of how that might impact the clean and jerk later, because I'm the same way with snatches, where I was doing doubles all the way up to, I think, 84. I did doubles all the way through. And I think that was the best route for me to take. But then once you get to clean and jerks, it's easily just singles, and then, holding on for whatever. I think it was interesting though, because I've been thinking about just like strength potential loss with the training that I'm doing and things like that. So I think I was very focused on snatch technique. And then I think I honestly just had mental lapses on the clean. It's funny, there was something that I realized on the last clean that I did after I failed the same clean like 7 times before, that I realized I hadn't been doing the entire time, which was just turning my kind of thumbs in to kind of bring the bar in closer, which is something that I typically do, but I hadn't done it the entire session until the last clean that I did, that I finally stood up, but by then it was way too late. But yeah, it was interesting to feel that fatigue again when you get to the clean and jerks, and you're just like, well, I think I have just to get to the number that we're going for today and nothing else extra.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want, it makes me wonder, like for Alex, like if maybe instead, like if he likes that style, like, okay, maybe he's going to be 21 lifts out or something. Let's adjust the warm-ups and keep the weight climbing. But you could hit singles on each of those. And then it's like, okay, do one of those every 3 drops and we'll be good. And if you want to keep moving that way, but instead of sticking with one weight and doing complexes or pulls or stuff like that, let's just snatch, but do it with like way more jumps and small. And that would allow us to take maybe even smaller jumps. And that might be better for Alex. Like Alex is definitely not on the snatch or the clean and jerk a big jump guy. I'm just not seeing it. Like there's a lot of people out there that do that. His technique and experience isn't there to allow for that yet, or even with experience, confidence in things, which is different as well. There's, you know, like he's not a Schenkel jump kind of guy, but Schenkel was fearless and really confident and experienced to take obscene jumps, especially on the clean and jerk, and it's fine. Or look at Trey, if you remember Trey Goodwin when he came to do the online worlds during COVID. What was this 70 100 or 70 120, like massive jumps, you know? He's like, this is how we used to do it. I just have 4 warm-ups, you know. So I wonder if that would be a cool strategy to try with Alex on just like more lifts. But again, we don't really train that way. And not to put words in his mouth, it doesn't seem like he wants to train that way. I know it's the end of the day, you know, but we tried it. So that it'd be an experiment for the future for sure. And we do have the Avitas meet coming up in August, which that would be a great time to kind of try to work something in life like that. But it's like for all you guys, like
there's even like,
okay,
I was going to say like, even there, sometimes I do like front loading, where if I am going to do something where I have to do a lot of sets, I'm essentially like hit that first set, drop the bar, immediately add weight for whatever that second set is, and hit that pretty soon after. Because when you're fresh, you can do that. Obviously, you're going to want to take that time when you get into the heavier, and you really want as much time as possible. But especially when you're just working on technique, like keep that focus, whatever the focus is, and just hit those sets really quick and make sure that they're good so that you don't have to, you know, redo or fix anything. But yeah, I think, just playing around with different jumps, like you're saying, like we've had enough time where me, Shop, Haley kind of know what jumps works best for us and when we can do certain things. And I think that'll come, but you kind of have to test out different methods to get there.
I think like it's making me think in training. It would probably be like if we want to, maybe this is the route we need to go to get back into weightlifting shape, you know? Because like a lot of the off-season stuff too is like, all right, we want to like build up our baseline of conditioning and also like work on muscle development and little things that we're just not going to have time for when we go back into weightlifting mode. But like more lifts, and my way of sneaking in more lifts has typically been like, let's do doubles, right? Like even like for most of you guys, like for your warm-ups, like, you know, like for you, like how many warm-up attempts are you going to let me have, you know, at a competition? Like realistically, like I'd love 7 or 8, you know, but you're going to maybe be like, I got 4 lifts today, you know, like, and so, okay. But maybe a way in training, and Shaf and others are the same way, but maybe in training, it would be like much smaller jumps, you know, and like, all right, like we're going to go 90, 95, 100 for Shaf, you know, instead of 90, 97 up into it. We're not going to skip the 80s. We're going to maybe even go like, all right, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90. And in the beginning, Shaf might be gassed from that. but I think that's how would be a great way to build up, of course, our weightlifting capacity. And
Yeah.
maybe we would be able to eventually do that stuff in competition, where, all right, you don't have to sit around for the majority of your session. You can keep moving and stay fluid with it. And then that also would make it a lot easier for counting too, where it's not like, all right, I got 4 warm-ups, but I want to go fast. And now I have to do mathematic and also spiritual and universal gymnastics to bend time that it will fit, and it's never gonna, because people are going to take 2-minute clocks and do crazy things. We're at the mercy of the competition. Maybe it would make all of our lives easier if we just were doing that, because it used to be the old team. If we go way back in the day, I would program like 8 warm-ups for people, and we would also do warm-ups where it's like, okay, you're going to hit 41, then 44, 47, things like that. Like do you remember when you guys essentially stopped letting me program the weird numbers, and it kind of like evolved into, we're a very black and white team of 5, or it's 5s and 10s, like it's going to be a 50 and a 55, or it's a 50 and a 60. We are a very black and white team like that. What do you think about those things?
Yeah, I'm definitely part of the issue, but I was thinking of like, what's the first weight we're putting on the bar and why? And honestly, I think it's just moving too slow, or wanting to move too slow too early. Like, I can't, honestly, no, I wouldn't go that far. But like, I could start off, if we're just doing regular snatches, if I wanted to, I could start off with just blues on. I could probably start off with reds on if I'm like feeling good that day. And
absolutely.
Just do 10
kilo
jump.
There were days in training that I would start with the equivalent of our blues. I'm like, I'm just starting at 135 today. Yeah. But like, and so like, if I was able to do it back then, you definitely would be able to do it, or 70.
So I guess that's also where we've been leaning, because we're also just like you said, like, we're not doing weird numbers anymore. But I've been watching other lifters who are like international level, and yeah, some of them are starting off snatches with 40, and they're maybe doing different things with it, but like, those sets are also quick. Like, they might do a muscle and then just one from the floor, super quick, drop it, and then, like I said, like, they're adding their plates right to do the next one, and then they're hitting a set at 50, and then maybe 50 is just a single, and they're hitting like a power and then a full, and then they're going on to those bigger weights, but they're moving quick in those first couple sets. I think we're maybe more leaning into, I don't need to hit 40, which we might not need to, but then we're loading up heads immediately and then like waiting to go, instead of like really getting going and moving. And by the time you get 70 on the bar, you like almost want to be sweating, and how that might impact us going forward.
We definitely have like too much of like a rest culture in our club, and like, I understand it's because it's the end of the day and people have been working and stuff like that, and it's like a thing where it's like, I'll put down 70 for Schaff to start, because I know he doesn't want to put the yellows on, then strip it, then put the blues on, and he might just skip it, or he's going to fight me out. So I've also like kind of just like, they're not going to do it, like, kind of a thing, like,
yeah.
So, but is that true? It's like you guys just don't want to do the change weights, and on another team, you might just work on a bar together for a little bit, and then it's multiple people. Like what would be so wrong with that? If like, all right, load the 40s on, on Schaaf's bar, Chris go through, Alex go through, Miguel goes through.
Yep.
But you guys are so territorial, so picky about certain things. But you can kind of see how it's like, all right, maybe we do need to rein some of that back in. Even the fact that we're calling 43, 68, 92 weird numbers is not a good thing. They're not weird numbers. They're precise numbers. And then it's funny, we might even hit some of those numbers in competition for attempts, but we can't do that for the warm-ups building up. Like it has to be like, all right, it's 5 warm-ups, which means if I'm going to give Schaaf 5 warm-ups, I kind of have to start him somewhere. It's got to be 70. I'm kind of handcuffed into if we're going to go up to open at 135, I kind of have to be like, well, all right, 40, 50, they're kind of useless. Like I have to start at 70 and then we have to go up to 110 and we're going to take those bigger jumps. But it would probably be better for him to hold the technique, to warm up the joints and muscles. If we did go do 50, all right, and then go 70, and then let's go 90 and 100 and 110 and whatnot. But I do think there's just a thing of like, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I am blanketing this to the whole team. It's not just you or any one person. You guys just don't want to hit those lifts.
Yeah, I think it's funny thinking about this. It's almost like I'm thinking about it like the back rooms where it's like we're getting to levels of remembering, but like misremembering why certain things happened and why that's going on. Or even like we're reverse engineering. And we're going like, oh, the last time I remembered, I was able to start off snatches with 50 and then go straight to 60 and then to 70. And we're almost like we're forgetting the part of like, because specifically on this day, we were doing this thing. And we're just turning it into, now everyone just does that as the normal thing. Or it's like, oh yeah, that day that we were moving really slow, so we skipped that warm up and we realized that we can do that. So now everyone is just moving at that same pace of slow and we're skipping those warm ups because of that instead of like, I think, or like thinking about it in terms of meets where, a lot of times for a lot of us, we're at the end of a session and, we're 27 out and we're going, okay, if we go every 3, then that's this many attempts. And, do we want to keep going for that long or whatever, instead of going, okay, no matter what, at a meet, we're hitting 40, we're hitting 50. So those might not even count in our like go every 3. Those might just be a part of our warm up, just like after the bar. And then we go into those every 3, whatever. But I think we're doing that thing where we're just lumping everything together and like not fully remembering how it works. Because like I said, like I am also a big reason that this is a thing. But I've been thinking about and just remembering why that is. Like you did put a couple extra snatches on Wednesday that I was like, I'm not even going to fight these. And I typically would because I had 80, 84, 87. And I was like, I would never do this. But I think I should start doing this. And it worked out well.
Well, essentially, what you're saying is sparking multiple thoughts, and I don't want to lose them, so I'm writing them down real quick. Yeah. Well, and it would be completely okay. Let's say if we're maxing out and you're like, I feel really good. All right, I am going to skip. I'm going to go from here to here. You know what? I think that's okay during testing. But it's happened so much, and it's not just you; it's everybody. Because it was a point where I would write everyone's numbers on the board and stuff before the cards, or I write them on the cards, and then I say like everyone's skipping everything, and then I'm like, I'm doing all this effing work, and everyone's just skipping. Yeah. Like I used to do you guys' numbers by calculator, on like, all right, the percentages, and I want to jump from here to here, and then all of a sudden everyone would skip them, and I'm like, fine. All right. They won't they won't do it. So let's just do it the way they want to do it. And we do the black thing or the black and white thing of, just the round numbers. And no one wants to do the play changes and stuff like that. But essentially what you're doing, if we think about this, you're skipping training. You're coming to training. You're doing some training, but that is the work of a weightlifter. I'm trying to think of another, I guess like in like ball sports, you're not throwing the ball enough. You're not hitting the ball enough. You're not you are putting in reps, but your overall rep count is low on everything building up your base. And we also have a thing where in competition, that means now we have a gap in the warm up from bar work to actual like attempts.
Yeah.
That should be filled with something else. And if you think about it, if you don't got the capacity to handle that on meet day, you're not ready then, and if it's going to affect your performance, or if you're worried that if you do too much in the warm-up room and you're not going to be able to hit these lifts out on the platform, then those are too heavy attempts. They're not so I do think we need to rein all that back in. And last year when we did the Avitas meet in the summer, and I was like, it's just going to be a train through meet for everybody. And it's also going to be like a light meet. That was an effort of me trying to pull the team back and being like, we got to stop doing this stupid stuff of like, even if we open appropriately, then we just take too big of jumps but like these are jumps you won't do in training and lifts you won't make in training. But you're it's like, I just roll with you guys' confidence on like, no, I got it. And then like we had so many meets of like people not getting it where I'm like, I don't know as the coach if I can trust when you say anymore, you got it.
Right.
Yeah. So I have to have this meet of like, no, you're going to open at 100 and we're going to take 3 kilo jumps. Like we're going to do the work kind of that we haven't been doing. We need more meets like that where it's like, not like, it's like, dude, you haven't had it in the last 7 meets. I don't think you got it.
Yeah.
Look at our third attempt percentage of making things, I think we got to rein things in. And it's like, okay, if you don't want to go on, I'll just use you an example. This is a completely made up example. If you don't want to go 90, 92, 94 for attempts on the snatch, then you have to earn those bigger jumps. You have to show you can do them. Yeah. And if you can't do it with those, you're not going to be able to do it with, let's go 90, 95, kind of an example.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what I'm thinking. It's obviously, I'm also annoying future me right now by saying these things, but this is like, I honestly like am also debriefing these things after training a lot, because it's different when you're doing the attempts and your thought process there versus like right after or before. And yeah, I've been thinking about that in terms of meets and attempts. And let's even say that I make my first 2 attempts. We've talked about like, oh, if it feels good, then this number. If it looked, or if it was just okay, then this number. But I think we're so used to going for PRs on like third attempts. And like sometimes we're missing second attempts and then still putting on a PR for third attempt. Like for me specifically, my snatch PR is 95. I think that there are situations in meets where it's like, let's say I start off 89 or something, or even like if I start off at 90, and then my second attempt should be 92 or 93. And depending on how it looked and how I'm really feeling, sometimes it's not 95 or the problem is then it's 96 because the PR is 95.
Yeah.
And you either, sometimes even if you're hitting the lifts, you need to match your PR or you need to hit right under the PR just because. And then when you get the string of meets of, all right, we've hit 5 meets in a row now where, we're making the snatches. Now let's try to go for the PR. But I think, we were so used to going for right above the PR that we're just selling it on the last few and being like, maybe there's a chance.
And And the thing too is like, let's say if we want to get you to 100 on a snatch, it's almost impossible if we open you at 90. You have a 10 kilo spread. So I told Alex too, we now the training wheels kind of have to come off on the snatch a little bit. He can't, unless he really is truly having he's just not feeling well, something like that. We have to open heavier. We have to, but we have to warm up to it properly. And then if you want to get to those next things, it means you have to push the opener. It can't be like, okay, all right, Shop's not feeling it in the warm-up room. Let's bump that snatch opener down to 97, and then we'll jump up to 105 or 104 or something like that. It's like, no, all right, that's a day, like game plans changed. We're going to go 97, 100, maybe 102, make lifts, but he's 1-2. And we're just talking here. I'm not trying to throw, we're just talking. He's 1-2 that I'll ask, how do you feel? Are you sure? Things like that. And he'll say it so confidently. Is it possible he doesn't really know and he's just trying to be confidence, or like a fake it till you make it type of thing? Or I'm going to say it and it'll manifest out there. I don't know. Like,
I would say for myself, because the chance is always above 0. And that's honestly how I feel, where it's like, you give me a shot, there is a shot that I really do go for this, especially in a meet. I typically will like for snatches, if anything, like I probably throw it behind me. And in clean and jerk, I'm probably going to get the clean, even if it's something I've never even put on. But I think we also do know that it's like, I'm not going to make it, but like at least in my mind, I'll be like, we went for it.
It's like after the attempt before it, you should 100% know. And you got to tell me, like, you can't have this, like, I believe, like, I'm all for the positivity talk and whatnot, but like, there also has to be let's get real on like today and this situation in the moment. And that's where I wish like in many situations from across all of you guys be like, I don't got that today. Like, and like, oh yes. Okay. Let's bump it down. How about this? Yes. All right. Let's, there's more of a likelihood of how that will go from the first one. The thing with your jerk is like, it's your clean and jerk is a wild card. It's it really is. Like you might be able on any given day clean literally anything. And then the jerk could legitimately happen, it's just because, and even with like your lighter warm-up jerks, there's days where your body just doesn't react to the jerk at all. So it's like on like it's 70 and your arms are turned in and whatnot. It's like, nope, it's a day they don't lock out, they don't rotate. So your jerk is just such an anomaly on like what's going to happen with it and the lockout and everything. So I think we need to close the gap in warm-ups. I think we need to be like lifters that move often. I think we've had too much of a rest culture pop up into our training that it's not the way I used to. I was moving nonstop in my training. Mm-hmm. You guys have chairs. I never sat down really during training that much until the heavier end. Because I come from the more CrossFit background. You don't have a chair in CrossFit. You just stand by your bar and load it and walk around, and then you come back and you do the lift. But we do have like a thing where it's like everyone sits down, and like everyone would prefer to stay sitting down, kind of just staring across the room, than to be moving. Like we have too many chairs in the room. It was great when we had John and Jennifer back in the day, who like the way they were moving, that's how you all should be moving. Like you could look into our like another barbell club and like, wow, there's a lot of activity going on in here. You can look into our barbell club on many days and like, what are you guys doing down there? Like everyone's kind of sitting, unless we're being forced to move by a timer. And again, look at the ways that I've been funneled to try to do different things. All right, you guys don't want to start at certain weights or take as many jumps. I got to get you warm though, right? I got to figure out a strategy. So
Yeah.
here come the doubles, the triples, or here come the positions. All right, with your lightest weights, do more work, like get more warmed up, do hips, knees, shins. Or okay, if I give you even just 5 or 6 lifting attempts for the day, and I give you 20 minutes to do it, we're still going over on the time. What are you guys doing? Like, so now I got to put us on a timer where it forces everybody to get up at this interval to do the work. And I think it's like a virus that spreads throughout the room. Again, we're all tired. I get it. But some of you guys, I'm not going to blame, have enhanced the resting culture, and would prefer to sit and talk and be sociable instead of doing the work. And that is going to hold back those of you that are actually trying to do things. You'll be lulled into that. And we've had this conversation before. It's like, you can't let that person take the reins of the vibe and the flow of the class. And for some reason they have.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if it's like a fully conscious thing. Again, I think it's just like how the flow has been going. But I mean, there's even like, yeah, there's different times for different things. But I am very much like, okay, we see that we're currently at 13 minutes of our 15-minute clock. I've got 1 attempt left because I know how long I'm taking in between attempts. I know that this weight I'm putting on the bar now is my last one. But I think everyone's also doing the thing where they're like, we're going to get more time. And there's no like urgency within that. Yeah. Because there's also the thing of like, we're going to get more time. But I think if you like, and again, I'm annoying myself with this for future self, but like if you add in 1 more set and keep the time the same, if there's going to be the shock period and everyone's going to be like, we can't do this. But if we continue to have to, people are going to realize that they have to move at a cadence that makes more sense. Again, if you need more rest for those heavier sets, that makes sense. So then the weights that you feel like you don't even think are worth your time, do those super fast.
Yeah. Well, and that's where when I would program, all right, we're going to take 20 minutes, 25 minutes and whatnot. And, you know, it's like, we're still, how are you not there yet? You know, and it's because also it's like you're hitting 40 and then sitting down like you need 3 minutes of rest, you know? So yeah, there's a resting culture that has grown that, and you know what, back in the early days, when even it was maybe more of a masters type of dominant team with like Kim and Chuck and Chris Diso and Mario and all the others, and then others who weren't masters, they didn't do this either. Mm-hmm. This is purely a like this kind of an era, and we can kind of go back like maybe like a couple of years, 2023, 2022. I think it was maybe a little better in 2021. I think things kind of started 2021 of like no weird jumps. I don't want to have to get the plates. Think about it. I don't want to have to get up and walk 20 feet across the room to get the plates. Or like now, because I don't want to get up to go to get the plates, I have to roll all of the plates over to my station so I don't have to move later on. Like, and have this be like a station, like it would be like at a meet. Like, is it fair to say that like too much, like I'm like in a weird way, like laziness has creeped up into the team too much?
Yeah, I mean, it's efficiency. Like, I mean, I think that's really what it is. Like,
lazy is maybe a harsh word, but I think it, like
it's
because like no one wants
2 words for sure. Yeah,
somewhere between the two, and sometimes it is flat out laziness. You know. Yeah, I think we need. I think we need to make so. We need to make kind of some wholesale changes like that, and mindset and approach changes, because in the end, like not to put it on one person, the whole system will hold Alex back from his ultimate potential and getting to the point of where you guys like where you can just roll back in and hit 91, which is a very high percentage. So it's 4 kilos away from your all-time best PR. You know, it will hold him back from getting to where you guys are ultimately, if we don't make a change and force him to be a part of the change. He's not going to like it either, because this is the only system he knows. And he, of course, everyone likes a little bit of comfort. Everybody likes to rest. Yeah. 5 lifts. Great. Resting more. Great. All right. All that. But I think we have to make a kind of a wholesale change, some changes, because otherwise it will hold the newer people back, you know.
Right. No, yeah, that's exactly
and he's, because
I know,
and with him, he's young enough that he does have a way bigger season or a ceiling than maybe some of the older, newer people who is like, they are closer to the actual like ceiling of what they would their ultimate potential. And they probably don't think this way. This is more of a me thinking this way. It's like, well, you're fine. You feel fine where you're at. You're comfortable. But this person over here does have like an aspiration in their head that I don't see from another person. So, but they can't hang with you. You have to come with them, you know?
Yeah.
Type of thing.
And like you're saying, I think I know now, I mean, especially me, that like, no matter what the circumstances are, I can probably make it work and get close to my same numbers. I'm like notorious for it. Like, no matter what, oh, I pulled my hamstring, I'll probably get up to 90% still. Like, but I think we've gotten to that with training too, where it's like, I know what I can get away with, but we had the base of years of like not doing this.
Yeah.
But then we're like, yeah, we can do the least amount and still make it work, but we'll probably progress more if we go back to, you know, more.
Well, and like for you, like, all right, state championships, changing clean and jerk styles midway through the warm-ups, or because you pulled your hammy, having to all of a sudden power at, you know, 5 kilos under your opener, you know, and then we adjust the numbers too, but like, and then go out and PR on the power snatch or PR on the jerk. Like that's not something I don't think Alex would be able to do. If all of a sudden, if I told him like switch to the split, that would be like, just like even mentally, like, I don't know if I could do that. Or the skills aren't sharp enough on the split to begin with to be able to go back to it, you know? I was the same way. I'm like, you know what? I think I'll push jerk today. You know, I think I'll do this today or whatnot. Not an issue. But I was more of like, instead of being like a brute strength lifter, I was more of a tactical technician's type of lifter of like, no, my technique has to be good. And I also practice a lot of technique. And I also practice all these lifts. Like it doesn't frazzle me mentally switching from a squat snatch to a power snatch or this or that, because like I view them as separate things, and my brain can just switch. Other lifters, they can't do that. Like, no, it has to be this today. We're kind of locked into this technique today. So yeah, I think we need to switch things up. I think we need to a good way to get back into the weightlifting sides of things is to continue with the off-season type of mentality, but like it's going to be more towards, we need to get into weightlifting shape, you know. Great example, 20-minute EMOMs, every minute on the minute, you know, making lifts, things like that, you know. That is something I have kind of on the list that I would like to switch us to. So yeah, I think and something that I've gotten away from, where this kind of, you know, just like where the programming has kind of funneled us into, because of a lot of these things, is like they're very much like you know how like they say like the lifters mold the program, like you guys literally have like we've talked about this many times, but like one thing that it's gotten us away from that I don't like at all is we're not developing the minimums enough. You have minimums and maximums. And if you grow the minimums, the maximums will grow.
Yeah.
We kind of have to be more skewed of just getting to a number and developing that top end of it. And we just kind of burn through the rest of it. And it is what it is, you know. It's getting it done for the sake of getting it done, you know. That's why, and like, even like when like I'll throw in lighter weights and try to like have us get more value out of a lighter weight with like a complex or something. You ever notice where I have to like encourage some of you guys to be like don't just CrossFit it. Don't just throw it around and whatnot, because that's not going to help you when we get to the heavier end. Or like if like we're doing complexes and you guys are like in the crisis of a complex, as you should be, as anyone would be, and you kind of default to like, I'm just getting it done kind of a thing, instead of like, I'm going to hold myself to a technique.
Right.
Do you understand the scenario I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And some of you guys have that power from CrossFit that you'll revert back to. And it's not a good thing at this point. And actually, that's the thing that it's going to make it harder for those of you that do have the experience to continue to make progress.
Yeah.
You can't just default it. You can't just do the CrossFit like, I'll just get it done and we'll check the box. It has to be, all right, it's 3 cleans. You have to drop it and set up and go through your whole process. The set has to take longer than you want it to take. Because that's the reality for the weightlifting shape, you know. So, well, with all this in mind, let's say you were going to come into training Monday, Wednesday, Friday. What would you expect to see?
You mean like once we get back into like a block?
Like back into a block of weightlifting.
Honestly, I think because we took this break, that this is the perfect opportunity to do like the sucky stuff. Like we've talked about before, where sometimes this like summer length leading up to states just seems so long and sucky that, you know, by the time it comes around, you're like, I'm so done. But I think because we've had this break, and I mean, like you've heard, like at the weekends, we're like, next week we're going back to lifting. Like, I think people are ready. So
I think so too.
To make it,
and that's a good sign for an off season. I think we normally wouldn't have an off season now, really. We would just keep going and train for the next meet. So I think having this spring off season after the regional worked very, very well. And I think it's been long enough where like everyone's like, man, I really would like to like go back to weightlifting. So like if that's a really, really good sign of like, I think a successful off season. Plus seeing like it doesn't mean we didn't make progress. I am seeing things. Like I saw things in Chris's lifting where it's like clearly taking the last 6 weeks to work on all these little things have helped and things like that. So I do think that we're ready for it. And I think having this off season was important. And it's been just long enough, you know, and then a little transition period in between before we get fully into it is going to be good. I would like to time it out where we would have like a nice solid block before the Avitas meet, you know, and then that Avitas meet will be testing a lot of things, putting into action for states. I think we're ready.
Yeah. So I think this was like a perfect opportunity to slip in like reps, and I don't know. I'm trying to think back of like my favorite blocks that we've done. And honestly, I mean, this is just a me thing. I want to see more missed lifts, if that makes sense. Like I always go back to when we had to do like the pauses at the knees and we're missing like our warm-up sets. And then that's like your cue to like go on to working sets where it's like, yeah, your last warm-up, if you pause correctly, there is a good chance that you miss this snatch or something.
Yeah.
Or even like we're talking about these lighter weights and reps in, if we do EMOMs where we add weight every time, but still keep it like at a low number. I don't know. I feel like long EMOMs at the same number don't do as much for me as like
Yeah.
adding weight throughout. Cause I think that also forces you to like really focus because you have to spend time to add weight and then kind of move around and really lock in each
I've
time.
thought about EMOMs where we add weight, but we change every 5 or so.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like you're going to have like 4 different weights throughout it, and it would be a big jump. I do love those EMOMs where you add every set. And
Yeah.
then, but that also becomes, if there's the right amount of people in the room, it becomes very
Right.
chaotic
Yeah.
because you might looking for things. And then like not blaming anyone, but like if we're doing EMOMs, like I feel like it should be disciplined where it's like, all right, you're using the excuse to wait for the next person to go because you're trying to steal more rest. And then eventually it starts to insidiously be you're a minute off from everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think what it has to do is like, no, you failed today. Take the next minute off and then come back in. I think we have to. I think we like you said, more mislifts. We have to be more willing to fail in more situations and have a consequence to it. It's like, nope, you did 19 sets today because you decided you were gonna rest more and not get on it and things like that. So I think we've found too many loopholes to like make it all still okay.
Like there really aren't makeup sets.
Yeah.
Unless you can remake it in that minute, which if you can, then why did you even miss it in the first place? I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, and that's where like I think way back, I told you guys kind of like a soft rule. If you have time in the first 30 seconds, all right, try it again. If we're past the 30-second mark, it's not even worth it. Especially if you miss it again. Because the past the second 30 seconds, we need to be thinking about preparing the body and the mind for the next minute to start.
Yeah. Yeah.
We might just do EMOMs on Monday. We might just do a week of EMOMs. Well, I was kind of thinking about like, all right, maybe for like some transition. All right, it's EMOMs on Monday from the knees, and then it's EMOMs on Monday from the hips. Then it's EMOMs on Monday from the floor, and we just kind of get back into it that way.
Yeah.
Just full on clean and jerk. I don't know. I haven't really decided yet. I'm still thinking.
Yeah. I mean, just like with every time we talk about training blocks, we're going to adjust almost every 2 weeks, every week, depending on like what we see. So, I mean, no matter what, I think if you're going to have to adjust.
Yeah. I think
like you're not gonna, I think there's only so many sessions you can go to and not do the work that's on your card before you go like, I've got to do something to do what I'm supposed to be doing here. Like if it's 1 week or one of the days within the week, then, you're like, okay, whatever. But yeah, if it's constantly like, oh, this isn't adjusting, then I'm going to have to adjust to this.
Yeah. Yeah. I like what we did. I thought it worked out very well kind of using the conjugate system earlier in the year where it'd be like, all right, we got two weeks of snatches pausing at the knees. Then it's another variation the next week. I thought that kept it like mentally, it kept it like fresh, like that. And it did work out well on like, what can you do today type of a deal. Like, all right, come in and just like work this drill and take, move up in jumps. I think maybe, and I can't remember if I did it early in the year. I'd have to check the programming. I like putting like a cap on how much you can jump. Like, all right, it's 3 kilo jumps today, you know, working from this. Did I do that? Did we do that?
I think at times we did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that I thought that worked out very well. But then also having like a dedicated day of like, no, these are your string of numbers. Like we also
Yeah.
need to do this too. Um, I think I'm not thinking like on wholesale changes on like every day is going to be like that, because when we have done that, it's still I think it developed things in a negative way on like, all right, like you are just like tired and stuff like that, and now you're just like having whole weeks of like not hitting the number on the card, and that's affecting you
Yeah.
psychologically. So I do like those open-ended days where it's like, what will you do, what can you do, and everybody seemed to have fun with that too. But then I do think we kind of need that day where it's like, no, this is the day where it's like, all right, and then you didn't get up to it, so we'll just adjust next week, you know, and then try to do it again. Type of deal. More of like that's the sport specific day. The other one's like training the sport.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, good barbell club therapy session. we should have one where everybody comes up because it comes on. I wonder how that would go. I don't think any of what we're saying is not true.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like
it's important to note that, you know, my training will likely be different in the next block. So yeah. Everybody else do those reps and stuff.
Yeah.
Me and Haley will be doing something different.
Yeah. Haley will be having a literal baby, you know, and also modifying the programming and stuff like that. And then you will probably not be there because you have to ramp up your triathlon training, or you'll be there, but you won't be expected to do, you know, crazy things. Of course, on the days that you are there. But everyone else, you are fair game. Have fun with that 20-minute EMOM and this is stuff like that. But yeah, it's fun to think about. We think about it a lot. We make changes. I think anytime we kind of get funneled into something, it's also because it did work for a while. Like it's never not. So like we have to cap this off. It's never not worked. You know, I think we need changes in the culture, you know, and whatnot. I do like, so for example, how fast we had the shoes on and started lifting and things like that. And then someone came in their usual late thing, you know, and they're maybe banking on maybe a longer brief, or we're getting slow started. That's a good thing too. I do wish that we could be starting earlier. Like in a perfect world, I would never have to actually ask everyone to put on their weightlifting shoes. That is maybe one of the most insane things about our club that I don't know if it happens in other clubs, where people just don't come in and I'm weightlifting, I'm putting on my shoes. Like if anytime I went to some sort of a team or group training, I would show up and I would just put my gear on. Like I'm here to snatch. Why wouldn't I put on my weightlifting shoes?
Yeah.
So that is possibly one of the things that I will never understand. And I think is the most insane thing about our team is that people come in and don't put their shoes on.
Yeah. Again, when I say like back rooms, I think things happen and then you almost forget why. And then it just becomes a weird thing of like each time you remember it, you remember the last time you remembered it, and then it just becomes the thing. Like it's probably because of the ladder, if you think about it.
Well, explain.
Like the agility ladder. Like I think we all used to just come in with our weightlifting shoes on until it was like, oh, we're doing agility ladder, like have like athletic pairs of shoes.
All right, but explain then the times where I've pleaded in the Instagram thing when you come in today.
I think that's the levels of just like we're weird now. We don't know. Like
this one thing broke you years ago.
Yeah, I think we can bully it back in if we just slowly, just force it.
Well, again, I think it's like like coming in, I understand everyone's tired. I'm tired. Do you think I'm not tired? You know, like I'm tired too. Everyone's tired. But it's like coming in and then like just like we got a candy thing and I'm gonna get the candy. I'm gonna sit down. I'm on my phone. I'm just like I'm using this time to decompress for the day. But then like it's also like holding me back for other like you're gonna be doing all that at another point tonight too. You know,
Yeah.
you're yeah. So it's like it's kind of like when you fall into the habit of like you drive somewhere and you're like, I'm just gonna sit here for a minute and scroll on my phone. Like
Right.
it's this whole even if you're not on your phone, it's just that's still that thing of that's like creeped
Mhm.
into to everybody and we need to kill it. It needs to die.
Yeah.
You know. Um,
I do think it's very, very possible that it's done by the end of this training block, honestly.
mhm.
Because I think people do just morph into what they see. Like, we have obviously gotten worse, but I think we have all
I have
individually gotten
texted
worse.
people asking them to please come on time, or when you come in, put your shoes right away. Like
Yeah.
personal text. Like I've asked personally, and it's just like this can't get on board. And then it's like because it takes 8 minutes to put the shoes on. Not this past Wednesday. This past Wednesday was beautiful. It was so
Yeah.
beautiful. You know, this it because it takes so long. I'm like, okay, I have to cut down the warm up. And I would love to spend more time warming up and like,
Mm.
or we can't do this thing at the end of class. We can't do a little accessory at the end of class. It's
Yeah.
everyone's moving too slow, you know. Um, and that's just an example of how almost maybe even one person could skew the whole thing. And now we're
Yeah.
doing less. And it's like, we should be doing more and it shouldn't be your aim as an athlete to be like all right, like this is great, we don't have to do a part three.
Yeah.
I'm so tired and like it's like are we that lazy that we don't want to do a part three? That it's like is sitting on for a, I don't this is if you guys were all like working on the road, construction, things like that, that we'd have to tailor the programming for that and stuff.
Right.
But in my mind, so in my mind, I'm like, you're on a computer all day. And then you're coming in and we're gonna move and you're gonna feel good once you start warming up. And like you just want to sit there too. Like so this is what I struggled with and whatnot.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Well, all right, I'll use Frank as a perfect example. Frank has a not a computer job. Frank is on his feet. He's got to
yeah.
fight a guy. He might have to go to work and fight a guy or multiple guys. They might have to send him out to go get a guy to bring to court. He's got to
Right.
do that. That sucks. So, but yet, I guarantee you, if Frank was training in our gym, he would come in and put his shoes on.
Yeah.
I guarantee you. I guarantee you Frank's not showing up late. I just so it's like what's the excuse? Well, I don't help me understand. Cuz I don't understand. Cuz I'm not that person either.
I do think you have to also, like, you got to CrossFit class it. Where it's, yeah, you just have to move. Like, I think we move best when we just move on.
Mhm.
Sometimes somebody has to be left in the dark, but we have to get started. And then I guess it is also, yeah, you'll be stuck with it. But like, then you have to go to that individual and then get them on track or whatever. But I think
Yeah.
we move best as a team when it's like, don't even, you as an individual, don't even explain it to them. Let them figure it out later. We have to keep moving.
Yeah. Well,
I
it's
think
because
it'll,
and
I think it'll
it's
work.
tough because let's say like we've done that before and then it's like the person's still going to come in late and still
Yeah.
have to get their barbell and stuff like that and like you know and it doesn't always line up where like we're moving on in a meaningful way that they'd be like oh
Yeah.
crap I missed that it's always kind of like you know it's like a weird thing.
Hmm.
Hmm. Hey, if anyone from the teams just don't tell me that you worked from home and still came extra. Like just don't even tell me that you work. Don't announce it from the room to the room. I work from home today, because the only thing that in my head is gonna be like, and you were still 8 minutes late, and now I'm pissed. So I was like,
yeah.
And the thing is, the reason that like it bothers me so much is that in that moment when it's like when we're at the thing and you're looking at me and you're like, I can't do it and whatnot, it's like, I know, and I know why, and it's like, and I'll still tell you why, but it's like, I don't want that for you.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, I don't want that for you. I want, like, I you're still gonna do a lot of the hard work. I want you to see the fruits of your labor, and that be successful and whatnot. So it's like, so if I'm annoyed or anything, it's because I care a lot about it, and like I kind of wish you cared a lot about this too. Like,
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and it's like, and that's where the senior members of the team have to come in. You got like you got to come in and set the example. You're already over there. Put your shoes on, and when someone comes in, put your shoes on. Why have you put your shoes? Like that's like you do need that too. Like you need. That's what team captains do. That's what team captains would.
That's why I passed that on, because it can't be me.
It can't be you.
Every other person. I'm not even looking. But yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. We'll get there.
Yeah, and it's this is all the things we want, again, as a recreational team. Like if if we were a professional sports team, none of it would happen.
Right. Yeah.
No, the meeting we would be having then, the private text or the call would be like, Miguel, do you see yourself on this team in a year or whatnot? I don't know. I don't know if there's a place for you here, or I don't know if we're going to be giving you that bonus, or you're not lifting at the next meet. No, I'm putting in whatever, that'll be better for the coaching staff to be able to coach Schaff and have more resources and whatnot. You're honestly just not doing what we need you to do that. So you're not lifting at the next meet. We're not going to pay for your thing. We're not. That's how it would be in a professional team. And that is probably how it is on, I imagine.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Unless you're the star. It's like this different too.
Yeah.
But then it's like, all right, then like, so because all right,
if
you're LeBron, the team kind of molds around you a little bit, but also you're winning us the championship, so you are allowed a little bit of leeway. But if you're one of the other guys, you just don't get that.
Yeah, none of us are producing at that level for it to be that anymore.
No.
Like, I mean, there were the times where it's like, we're looking at potentially having 10 people in this room. And I like joked about doing tryouts. But like, imagine if everyone had to retry out for the club.
Yeah. That'd be fun.
There's like a trial block of like a month. And it's like, we'll see how everyone does. And then at the end, we'll post the names. And we'll see who can come.
Well, there are teams out there, or at least there used to be. I was told a story of the guy. He comes to our gym. His name's George Nagy. He runs the ping pong club, and he used to be involved with Hungarian weightlifting. I remember he defected to the United States because of weightlifting and all that. And there was there'd be a list, and you'd be able to come at this time to lift if you were on this lift. And that's where the better lifters were. And then there'd be another list, and you'd have to come at this probably more inconvenient time. And the head coach isn't there. You'd be with assistant coaches and whatnot. You don't get, he's not going to look at you or talk to you or even know your name until you're eventually put on this next one. And be the assistant coaches be like, oh, I think Miguel is ready for this next step. Or you're rewarded because you went to a meet and you did very good. And then you'd meet James. And I'd be, oh, you're Miguel. All right, now you're in this. And then you would essentially be on like a new trial period where like, all right, you did well there. But you'll notice here, we don't do at this one. No one opens their candy till the clean jerks. And like, you're over there like, and everyone's like, this guy's really eating the the Rice Krispie bar now during the snatch and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like you'd pick up on things like that because the team would also be so sharpened. They would let you know. They'd mean girl it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It'd be funny. Like, all right, we're doing tryouts for the barbell club, and then like so I get text and someone's like, "Hey, I haven't where my invitation hasn't come in yet." And I'm, who's this? Like, who does you know? It's not coming. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, so it's an interesting thing to think about, you know. And we're still a recreational team, so we're going to have recreational things, but but that means so much more of the responsibility does fall on you, the individual recreational athlete. It's like, hey, if you have these goals, it is on you to show up. It is on you to do the work and stuff like that. And me as the coach, I just have to funnel us back with the programming back a different way, you know. But because it's a recreational team, I can't mean girl coach it the way I would be able to if like I'm paying you, you know, because like you're paying to be a part of the club. I can of course be upset about things and stamp my feet or like, what are you doing and stuff like that. But there's a certain cap on it that it's like it's not going to work. But it's fun to think about.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens tomorrow. I haven't even decided what we're doing. I'll keep thinking about it. So yeah, that's it for weightlifting. Great performance, you know, for Alex. I'm glad, you know, we went 4 for 6. I'm glad he signed up. You know, that alone is good on just being like yeah, I'll do the meet, you know, and I want to help. And then all right, if I'm going out to help, I might as well lift. And if there was anyone on the team that needed more meets, it's Alex, you know. So getting him out there to be able to do it, of course, is chaotic, you know, trying to speak on the mic, put in changes on the computer. I got to get the next session into the computer, and we're behind. And when will there be time from that? And we're doing a medal ceremony after every session. And I also have to hopefully be able to turn around to see a lift that Alex is doing. But luckily, I also am controlling the entire competition, so I know when Alex is going. Like literally, nothing is happening unless I am hitting buttons and calling things. So at least I can clean. I don't have to check the cards. I can clearly see when Alex needs to go and just turn around and be like, do that, you know. So that's the easiest example of officiating and coaching. Yeah. Now, if you're reffing and coaching, that's a little harder, you know.
Yeah.
Now you are at the mercy of the thing. So yeah, any other thoughts on this topic of meets and lifting and training?
Yeah, I guess it is something that I think about often, though. I'm going to try to find it. There's a YouTube video of a Japanese lifter, and it's how many reps he does in competition. It's so many at like 80 something, 90 something percent. Like he'll hit I think he hit like 3 snatches in between his first and second attempt. I'll find the video and send it to you. But yeah, I've been thinking about things like that, and just like, I guess it is time for us to try something new. Because I mean, that's just training of like, something's going to work for a while, and then once that feels a little bit less effective, you have to try something else. So yeah.
And I mean, for me, I used to do a lot of lifts in training, and then I, you know, for the warm-up lifts, you know, like you look at the example, okay, 8 to 10 lifts, all right, I can plot that out and do that. So like I was very, very used to that, and there was never a time where I felt too many warm-ups were going to take away from my attempt out on the competition platform, because it was always something that, like, it was a reasonable number. It was a number I was ready for, or a number I had hit before. It wasn't, I only times I took big jumps is when, like, all right, it's day 4 or day 5, and I've already trained all the other days in a row, and I might be tight on time. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go 95, 135, 150, or whatever on the snatch, right? But I was so conditioned for that to be able to do it in one-offs. So it isn't. I think it'll be a good change for us to make, and kind of
Yeah.
set that up. And then it also does it. It also means that it doesn't let me off the hook in any way on what's being programmed, because it still has to fit. It still has to fit. So if I'm allowing more time to snatch, to do more things and stuff like that, and clean and jerk, and we're doing both of the session, I'm of course I can't expect that we'll have time to do other things.
Right.
So it all has to work together in unison, because we do only have our only limited time. But that also means from the expectation is we're not getting out at 7. We might be getting out closer to 8. Right now we're getting out at like 7:30 consistently, because each piece is taking 12 to 15 minutes, by design, but might have to reclaim that extra 30 minutes at some point, but one thing that I would like more warm up, like more warm up, and like levels of warm up, like just like that would be a not a thing to try, but like a thing to like kind of go back to, like, let's be really, really warm, like let's do the joint mobility, then we'll do some drills across the room, then we'll get a foam roller and foam roll before and find some weak points, and then we'll eventually get the bar and start doing it, and sometimes I take the temperature where I'm like, it seems like everybody's over this and ready to get onto the bar, but I remember Wes Kitts talked about at his seminar, and I talked to him more about it on the side when he's warming up. Now, of course, he doesn't have like a 6:15 to 8 to get it all done, and this is like his job, and he's going to work, and it's like however long it takes is how long it takes. But he definitely would like spend time with, like, let's say he'd load 50 kilos on the bar, and he'd like do some muscle snatches or some drills with it, and then he would like think to himself, what feels tight? All right, my shoulder. Then he'd go do some shoulder mobility. Then he'd come back to 50 and hit 50 again for like a double or triple, and then be like, all right, now my hip kind of feel, and then go do some mobility for that, and then come back to 50. And he said he would do that maybe upwards of like 10 sets, and then start to add weight. And so of course he has time for that. I would love for that to kind of be a thing of like, all right, we like do a lot of warming up and really like break a sweat and get the muscles and the tissues. Cause like warming up, like we should talk about this on a whole separate podcast, like the science behind it, of like the different layers of the muscle, and like warming everything up. And like, even in CrossFit, we don't warm up enough of like what, like actually doing from like down to your core being warm. But I would love it before it could be like on the card, Miguel sees 40, and you're going to hit 40 for a double, and then you're going to do an assessment. You're going to move your shoulder and like, all right. And then you would know what you need to go do after that. You go get the band and you're doing some banded stretches. Then you go back to 40, you hit it for another lift. Maybe it's just a single. Did it work? All right, it did. Now I go up to 50 and I do 50. And then you're like, all right, my quads. And then you roll out your quad. Like, it would obviously take more time, but I would love us to get to a place where we were doing that. And that would also be where everybody would need to be on point with going through a flow. Like it'd be like a flow, like of doing things. I don't know if we're there as a team for everyone to be, staying on track and time efficient and stuff like that, but as an example of it, that's why I was programming in like face pulls and stuff. Like let's do a set, and then let's do mobility with it to try to kind of like sprinkle that in. That might be the way we have to do it a little bit. All right, for your first 3 warm-ups, after each warm-up, add the next weight, but then you're going to do this type of a thing for your shoulders. You're going to do some barbell smashing. I don't know. What do you think about that? I think that might be the most practical way for us to start to do it in general.
Yeah, because I mean, I think some of us know well enough, like what we need, but not everyone. So I think this is like waking it up to, like what do you need, or what can you feel after this, and then what can you do to fix that? So if we like sprinkle in some different things, and you realize, oh, this feels a little bit better after I do this. Then you can then start to just do that.
Yeah. Or like the way I tested it with this last cycle. I'd like to almost combine it with the cycle before, where it's like, okay, this is the snatch drill we're working on for the next 2 weeks. It's kind of self-paced. There might be a limiter on it, on where week 1 is doubles, week 2 is singles, and we would expect to see the weights kind of adjust for that if you're feeling good. But if you're not feeling good, do what you can, keep it at this weight. If you find it, repeat sets. But also there's a mobility component paired with it. And that you can kind of pace things off of that, where like that almost might be your rest. Like instead of just sitting down, sit down and pop open your phone. Probably one of the worst things you could do is pull up your phone. Whatnot, like to take yourself out mentally of it. But like maybe it's like you could do there's a list of things like all right, if your quads are tight, you could get a barbell, smash it, or a kettlebell. You could grab a foam roller or do these stretches. And then it's just like it almost needs to be taught how to evaluate after every set to do. And then those of you that are more intuitive would just do the things that you that aren't on the board, but you need.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? It's a 15-minute block, or maybe a 20-minute block. We're working. I would probably need to add more time because we're adding in another thing, because we still want the weights to go up. But it's a 20-minute block. We're working on pause snatches off the floor. It's doubles. You're gonna. It even says, I remember sometimes I put start at 40 or start at this. Unless I've written other at your card.
Right.
You're only allowed to go up by 3 to 5 kilos. And after each set, you're going to look at this menu and evaluate and think to yourself, oh yeah, my wrist did feel tight after that first snatch double. I'll do one of those things. And you do that. All right, it says 30 seconds per side. You foam roll, or you roll out, you do this banded stretch. Then you go back and you do an evaluation set where you hit 40 again, or you do go up. Maybe you do still keep climbing.
Yeah.
But you need to reevaluate after each one. I think that would be a nice way to, even when we get back into it, on training skills and technique, still go heavy, but mobility is more baked into the programming, and it's less psychologically hammering than if it was just nonstop. You have these numbers and you have to hit them, and this is a heavier number than last week, but you don't feel the same as you did last week. But it also teaches you now how to think about how you actually feel and make a decision. Right. And that's also why I'm there too. If I'm like, all right, Chris, what thing are you doing next? He's like, I don't know. It's like, well, how are your shoulders? Well, it felt this way. Well, the best on this lift for the way that was feeling would be that exercise, or this one that's not on there. And then those first 2 days of the week are like that. Maybe even snatch still has its day, clean jerk has its day. And then Friday is you do have numbers, and we are adding in way more volume of singles and stuff like that. But you also still have the time to keep doing those other things, and you are learning how to evaluate. And you know what? Yeah, my back is not feeling good today from whatever I was doing. Let me do this. That's one vision of how the programming could go. How does that sound?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think it's valuable. I guess the thing that keeps on popping back into my mind is like, yeah, we are still like recreational team.
Mm-hmm.
I guess is my only like not hang up, but like in terms of like individual to individual, like how much are they really caring enough to even assess it properly and like really give this deep thought in terms of like, because you have to do this, like the programming for it. Mm-hmm. And it's like, would it be fully worth your time to add all those options in and like really put it into it? If it's like what the return would be, I guess, is my only hang up. if I was to
Well,
think of one.
I think the majority would be invested enough, and I think that comes part with the presentation and the buy-in and stuff. As far as like a time for me, I think I would make it like specific to the movement, like like all right, if it's like the snatch day, you know, there are all right. Here's like T-spine, shoulders, hit, like it wouldn't be like any kind of like it'd be like a very limited menu, and then like
Yeah.
we're going outside the menu if you're like, oh yeah, my elbow hurts or something like that, which you would think that if we fix something in here that would trickle out to the elbow, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think mobility needs to be a part of the programming a lot more than just the typical warm up or stretching at the end in some way. So yeah, is that the only kind of downfall of it?
Yeah,
Is it?
if
It
I
might
had
take
to
me
think of
just
one.
a smidge longer to do,
Yeah.
which I don't think it would take too much longer because I've already been kind of thinking about it. That's why we did it in this last one. And it might even be almost like weighted. There's I think I would want like weighted mobility, like because we also want the strength that comes with it, you know, like so there's a very specific way that I would want to do it. I need to put more thought into it. Hey, this might be a good time to try it out.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised if this is how next week looks. Test it out. And then, of course, we still got to get the strength lifts in.
Yeah.
Boy, we kind of still have to squat. I think the team does very well when we squat a lot. But maybe we do need more of an upper body strength day, a pulling day. You know, that we really haven't, like, the thing with the pulling day is they're so hard to recover from. Like, if you guys think that the squats are hard to recover from, after a certain while, you kind of get in the groove of squats. You're like, I'm just a squatting machine. But like heavy deadlifts and stuff, it does take a lot out of you. That's why it'd be great if it was like on a Saturday or day 4 or something, or towards the end of the week, where you have a little more time to recover. And right now, some things are kind of relegated to the off season. Like the off seasons have kind of become like, we're going to like do a lot of upper body training, you know, because we kind of have to, and take a mental break and physical break from squatting. And then it's also having the time to do it. Like we did get away with, all right, let's put squats right at the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to that. I do think that like by the time you're done back squatting or front squatting, you are like really warm for snatches.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the only downside of that is that the pre-exhaustion that does come going into the snatches. But I don't know. You tell me. Like, did that make you stronger? And then when it went away, you're like, whoa! I was swinging a weighted bat before, and now I feel better. Or oh crap! I need the squats. The only way I can snatch is if I squat beforehand.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because that did happen a little bit for some.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Because definitely, I mean, the squats did help everybody. But yeah, as you're saying, I don't know if it became like a crutch of like, I need to squat. But I think either way, we became stronger. So even before like a meet, like we are stronger. So maybe, but then again, that's the idea of, all right, add in more warm-up sets for your snatches then when we're not squatting, so that you feel just as warm as when we were squatting.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Yeah. And maybe it's not an everyday thing. Maybe it's like, okay, like the other 2 days are the days where we have to get the stuff done, that we have to get done. You know, maybe Monday and Wednesday start off like that. But then Friday is more sports specific day, more warm-ups, more snatch and clean jerk focused, teeny bit of squatting at the end, you know, to finish it off.
I mean, I'd like to like end with clean pulls or something, like heavy clean pulls. Like once you finish your last clean and jerk weight, from there you start your clean pulls, and like we go heavy from there or something.
Yeah. That's an easy transition.
And if we do that on like a Friday, you have until Monday to recover. So
Yeah. That'd be, well, yeah, and clean pulls would be easier to recover from than like straight up
yeah,
deadlifts
just a
if we're
straight up,
going
yeah.
like heavy. I think pulls would be better than like just approaching the deadlifts like heavy set of five snatch grip deadlift, or approaching
Yeah.
either deadlift variation with like the strength thing in mind.
Mhm.
That I think is better served as an off season thing. But
Yeah.
like going up 10 to 20% on max snatch and doing some pulls where we are also trying to shrug and
Yeah.
extend and stuff would be good. I could almost even see ending, um, like, let's say you have 15 minutes to work on the snatch drill. Then we could even keep in the drop sets of the regular snatch, because I did
Mhm.
like that too, because it kept us doing the full movement without anything.
Yeah.
It's like maybe like that's even like an EMOM of like, all right, we're going to drop it down to what your heavy was for the day and just like put it together a little bit. But then after that, maybe there's another section where it's like, okay, now we're going to do some heavy pulls and finish off the snatch for that day. And that was 25 minutes or something like that,
Yeah.
or 30 minutes of snatching, because even 30 minutes is not a lot. Like I spent way longer than that doing all of
Yeah.
my snatch work back, but I had the time to. So maybe that's like a solid 30 minutes of snatch specific things. Then we get out and then before that we back squatted, so you were super warm going into it. Then we finish with like a little mobility, or maybe even it's just mobility and stretching, go home. Same thing for the clean and jerk. And then we're not doing that on Friday. I can see that being a thing. That sounds fun to me. What do you think?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's
I think it's
easy transitions because the bar is not going anywhere. You just have to add
yeah.
more weight.
And I feel like it's been a while since we've like had that. And I guess, yeah, that idea of like things are feeling heavy and then we do weird things because things feel heavy.
Yeah. And if, let's say, Monday snatches, you come in, and in the past, I would like, let's say it's week 3, week 4, and your numbers are climbing up because we're going up a little week by week, and you see 5x2 for whatever snatch drill we're doing, and you're like, God, I don't know if I have that today, and you're missing a lot or stuff like that, and it starts to beat you down psychologically. I think that we could have all the best of all possible worlds if it's like, okay, here's the 15 minutes of practicing this drill for the snatch, and we're practicing it to go as heavy as we can for the day. And that's going to be different for everybody. And it's also going to be different from last week because you guys are working full-time jobs. You're living life and stuff like that. Maybe the recovery wasn't good. Maybe you just didn't sleep well. Maybe it was hot or something like that happened, right? So you can do what you can for the drill for that day and push yourself. Then it gets lighter, and we do some drop sets to just essentially practice the next skill, which is the snatch again, but without whatever limiter was on there, pausing, whatever. And then we go heavy for strength. And it's like, we're not snatching. So even if you felt bad that day and you couldn't go as heavy, well, now you're going way heavier than you ever would have snatched. And it's just pull and shrug. And I think that those three things combined, the thing I like it's a trifecta of confidence. All right, I feel so terrible today, but I'm going to do what I can on the drill. Then it's going to get lighter. And because of the drill and because it was heavier, I feel better doing a full smooth snatch. And I'm not forgetting how to snatch. I'm not letting whatever I practice for 15 minutes be the dominant technique or whatever it is. And then, I can go heavy now. I think that's a nice combo.
Yeah.
Good idea, Miguel. Good idea. I think if we're gonna add pulls in, I think that in that sequence and adding it that way makes sense.
Yeah.
Be a fun experiment to run. And then also having all the other things. I think the program always works. But I think we could add in a lot of things that we've been lacking that way. It just comes down to, and it also doing it that way helps the dilly dallies, like
Right.
it helps.
Yeah.
It helps us to be time efficient, and still get the most out of it. All right. I like it. I'll think more on it. Um, all right. Any other? I don't know if this is weightlifting's kind of dominated the conversation. I don't know if you want to go into. Maybe we can save. The semifinals, online CrossFit semifinals, will be done this weekend, right?
Right. Yeah.
So
we'll
maybe
know exactly who's going to the games by next week.
So we should probably save it for next week. We can we can talk about the ones that happen in person. We can look at the workouts that they released, and also kind of compare them to the open and quarterfinals, because remember we talked about doing that. That's our only complete thread up to this point, because all the other semifinals were random programming, not random but different. So we kind of look at, like, from CrossFit's perspective, these are the workouts you're giving. And then we'll be able to put it together with the games at some point. Let's do that, and then we'll know who's going to the games as well.
Yeah,
that sounds like a better plan. Cool. All right. Well, Miguel, any closing thoughts on everything? And whoever's listening, this is this is a fraction of what's always on my mind about all of this. So this is a lot of work is put into our barbell club. So any of all of our little antics or complaints or just how we function as a team, there's a crazy amount of thought, not just from me. You guys think about this stuff too, clearly. Yeah. So and I think you got to, if you're going to have a successful barbell club.
Right. For sure.
Think about it a lot. So you guys, whoever's listening, you get to hear kind of just the thought process of talking it out on all this stuff, on what goes into it. And then when you see Miguel hit 100 kilos on a snatch at States, you're like, I know what went into that. I know the thought process behind all of it.
Yeah.
And the pain and suffering that comes along with the success from all levels. So I think it's fun to talk about. But any last thoughts, Miguel, or anything?
No, yeah, exactly like you said. I mean, these are things that I also think about fairly often, and just training in general. And so it was good to get all this out at some point. So yeah.
And hey, if you're listening and you're on the team and you weren't mentioned by name, but you're like, wait, maybe that is me.
Yeah.
Well, clean up your act,
Yeah.
Because you're a part of the team. Everybody affects the team. That's what I guess that could be my little closing thing here. It's like everybody and everybody's actions affect the team cumulatively. Because also the thing about our team, we don't train independent individual programs. The program is kind of based off of what does everybody need? And then there are elements of since Miguel needs this, we'll all do it. Because since we're all at a certain level, if you need more back training, everybody probably needs more back training. You're just the one that highlighted it for the team. So in that regard, it's everybody's contributing. So if people are contributing this and that, it affects everybody as a whole. And if this team wants to get Alex to clean and jerk 150 and beyond, which he clearly has the strength to do, it's going to be a team effort. That's just how our team runs. It's we are definitely a village, raises the child type of all rising tides raise all ships type of thing. It's there's no Miguel's making all of his progress on the side doing his individual thing, and you're also island over here, and it's all on you. We're all collective thing, and it's different. I like it that way, though. I don't know how we would function if you all came in and you had completely different. I don't know. Would that be weird?
Yeah, for sure.
I think you'd lose the camaraderie of it. It'd be totally different. Because then how can you give someone heck from across the room for slacking if you don't even know what they're doing?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe someday that'll be enough. Maybe that's an off-season experiment. All right, everybody has a different program during the off-season, but I wouldn't want to mess around with it in an actual season at this point. Cool. Well, Miguel, where can people follow you?
At Couldn't Be Miguel on Instagram.
Cool. Follow me, James. Follow the Barbell Club, Albany CrossFit Barbell Club. I will have Alex's lifts up later today, so you'll be able to see them. And follow Albany CrossFit, and we will talk. So fair warning, next week, if you made it this far, it's all about CrossFit. We're talking CrossFit next week, so be ready. Cool. All right, well, Miguel, good talk.
Yeah.
Ending stream.